Right, no, sure, but that's interesting because Nick and I were talking before, before the show, and Nick brought the subject of writing, a comic before, and I said, oh, Tom's got some some videos on his YouTube channel about story structure. He's going over the subject, so I'm wondering if Tom is delving into the world of writing because what is he doing? So you are so.
I've been working on for the last 6 months or so, closer to a year at this point. Actually, I've been working on a creator-owned comic that I post on. I'm sort of serializing it on Patreon, and that I'm doing digitally. I'm drawing that digitally as well, but it is something that I'm writing and illustrating, and it's something that I'm working on at my own pace. I've been posting pages for the last several months, and we're up to page 19. So it's a lot slower moving than something that if it were a published piece. But it's been for me, this is my first introduction into taking writing and drawing seriously and putting it out to an audience. I don't have that many patrons at this point, but it's at least an audience that gets to read it, and I get to get some feedback on it.
So that's really interesting. The workflow for that, because you're moving at a slower pace. Are you writing you've finished writing this page? You have an outline. You finished writing this page. Now you're going to draw it. Then you're going to write the next one.
No, that's a great question. No, I sort of wrote it and laid it out as if it were already going to be a 3-issue miniseries.
So you've done all writing, all layouts are done, and you're just for lack of a better term, washing the dishes. You're finishing it off.
Yeah, exactly. And which is the way I'm used to working. Normally I'll get a script from a writer and it'll be a 22 page script, and I'll just break that down into layouts and then send that to the editors and get feedback and then just go into the final art. So I tried to treat it a similar way, where before I put digital pen to digital paper, I would have a certain amount of layouts and a certain amount of the story already told. And just to keep that sort of similar workflow, because I felt if I got too into the weeds early on, on page 5, and I didn't know what was going to happen on page 7, I would screw myself. So the good thing about this, though, it being not attached to a publisher or an editor, is that midway through it, I could kind of make those changes. So that has happened recently, where I'm up to page 19, and I got an idea for something, and I thought maybe I could take this left turn over here where it wasn't originally in the script. And because I don't have to convince anyone else if that's a good idea or not, I just said, all right, I'll do it. And I kind of reworked some of the layouts, and the story is sort of changing and evolving. But if I didn't have that full framework from the start, I feel like I would have just gotten too overwhelmed with all the possibilities of what could potentially happen.
What was your writing process like? Was this the first thing you've written?
Yeah, I've written some short stories, but again, just I would post it online, nothing super serious, or for friends' anthologies and things like that. So this was the longest, I guess the most long form thing that I've written. And I wrote it a lot like an artist, but we were talking about before. So I would do my layouts, know the story outline in my head, and then I would break it down into layouts without knowing specific dialogue or anything like that. And I would pace it really, really long. So I would almost make storyboards as if they were for a movie. So I would include a lot of beats that you wouldn't normally put into a comic. I would just lay it out as I saw it. And then the editing process was me just going back in and simplifying that and turning it more into a comic rather than storyboards for a movie. And then on top of that, then I'll develop the script and the dialogue and all that. So it's very much writing like I'm drawing, or sketching it out first, and then go in and then work on dialogue and all that.